Donald Trump now says he's worried about getting into heaven, which, aside from being a really kind of wacky thing to hear from a president, it is sparking new health fears, making people wonder, is he talking about that because of something that's going on from the standpoint of health? Now, as far as we're going to play the clip here in a moment, Trump has spent decades. If you believe in a religious framework, which I don't think Trump does, but he claims to. Trump claims to be a Christian. If you believe in a religious framework, then he's really been accumulating sins like they are, Pokemon cards or something. And now all of a sudden he's worried about getting into heaven. He's worried about negotiating peace with Ukraine and Russia, and seemingly not because it's just the right thing to do. It's because he thinks he needs help with his odds of getting into heaven. This is Trump on Fox News, straight up saying, I'm hearing I'm not doing that well on the path to heaven, and I hope that this deal maybe helps me.
I just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into
more than some
cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade.
So instantly, this lit up social media with extraordinary speculation. Is Trump suddenly suffering a bout of panic about politics? Is that really what this is? Is he worried he's not accomplishing enough and the reference to getting into heaven is a euphemism? Or does Donald Trump know something about his health that isn't being made public? The answer to that question is almost certainly, but is it something serious? And remember that this is the same Donald Trump that we've seen with the swollen ankles, with the bruises on his hands, and subsequently with increasingly large makeup patches on his hands to very obviously cover up the bruises. The White House ultimately was sort of given no choice but to come clean with some information. They said, he's got a completely benign chronic venous insufficiency, and that is completely it. But all of a sudden, Trump walking unsteadily. We saw him during the red carpet walk with Vladimir Putin, unable to walk a straight line, sort of swerving far to the left and far to the right. And he's got the afterlife anxiety all of a sudden. So this is a track record that is starting to, first of all, Trump's life, if you believe in this stuff, doesn't exactly scream heaven bound. I don't know that Trump has a ticket that's been punched exactly if the framework you subscribe to and you believe in is one where heaven exists and the Christian Bible is indicative of what it takes to get in. But if you put that aside for a moment here, all of a sudden Trump talking about this is definitely raising some questions. Now, as far as the trade deal goes, as far as the peace deal goes with Russia and Ukraine, Trump is clearly trying to leverage his negotiating position like this were a real estate deal. And even the hot mic Trump was caught on at the White House earlier this week, where he says, I think Putin wants to make a deal with me. Trump's entire public life is sort of a checklist through which the prism is, this is like a business deal. Can I speak to the decision-making parties? Is there a financial impediment? What do we need to do to get it done? And this gets us back to the broader speculation that we've heard for so long by mostly Republicans, that we need a businessman as a president. We heard it during the 2012 campaign between Barack Obama for re-election and Mitt Romney for president. And you would often hear Mitt Romney is a business person, and that's who we need running the country. And at the time, I would ask a really simple, it's almost a quaint question. What evidence do we have that business people make good presidents? And the couple of examples that we had from history weren't particularly good. We then got to Trump and started hearing a lot of the same thing. Trump's a business person. He's a negotiator. He makes deals. Naturally, they said that would make him a good president. And many of us on the left were saying, what evidence do we? First of all, do we accept that Trump is a good business person? Sort of a question mark, because if Trump had simply invested his inheritance in the stock market, doing nothing other than allowing 40 years to go by or 50 years to go by, he would have more money than he has now. In other words, Trump's business ventures have done worse than putting all the money in an index fund. So maybe Trump's not even a good business person. But if we grant he's a good business person, what evidence do we have that that translates well to global diplomacy? And so far, the case is it really kind of doesn't. Trump is applying his experience as a business person, a good business person, a mediocre business person, you be the judge. Trump is applying his experience and the tactics he uses as a business person to the presidency. And what we've learned is that's not really a great experiment. What I would like to see, and I know that now we are really kind of zooming out, I'd be curious, what would it be like to have a scientist president? What would it be like to have an educator president? Are there other areas of work and life that better lend themselves to being a good president? The businessman experiment hasn't gone particularly well. Now, back to Trump. It's not super common that you call in for a live interview and have an existential crisis unless something's going on behind the scenes. And it might be Trump's health, but it might be his legacy. It might be kind of a rare moment of conscience all of a sudden, but very odd to hear Trump all of a sudden saying, I'm a little worried that I'm not on track to get into heaven. What do you make of it? Let me know. info@davidpakman.com. After the break, Caroline Leavitt was asked a question that she didn't really like being asked. I'll tell you what it is and what her answer was. There was a time when public education meant learning math, science, history, but now we are seeing Bible verses in biology class. We're seeing 10 commandments on the wall, religious chaplains taking the place of trained counselors, and it's all funded by taxpayer money through voucher programs that are sending public dollars to private religious schools. This is part of a broader effort to inject religion into public education. I'm against that. And it often is coming at the expense of real academic standards and the well-being of the students. Now, our sponsor, the Freedom From Religion Foundation, is fighting back. FFRF defends constitutional principles, takes legal action when schools cross the line, and protects students from religious coercion in public classrooms. If you believe in facts, in protecting education, in keeping religion out of public schools, I can tell you this is an organization very much worth supporting. To get involved, go to ffrf.org/school or text David to 511-511. Message and data rates may apply. The link is in the description.